chug, 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 All right, so it's been quite a journey so far. I think we're going to wrap it up here for now. We've been talking for quite a long time. And we've discussed the plane, we've discussed the mechanics, we've talked about major commander options, we've gone through a number of the various cycles for the 99, and I think we'll just kind of wrap up here, and then in part 2 we will talk about the individual 99, like the white, the blue, black, red, green, and the colorless, and hopefully that one will be a little bit shorter than this one.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, with that all being said, we'll do our standard outro. We are the Wizard Staff Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and pretty much any other like streaming platform that you get your podcasts. You can find us also on Blue Sky at WizardStaff101. You can send us an email at thewizardstaff101@gmail.com if you want to bitch or complain. Hello, and welcome back to the Wizard Staff Podcast. I'm your host, Blake.
And I'm Guy.
And we are two drunk novices who like to talk about EDH. We do drink and swear, so you've been warned. Please drink responsibly when playing children's card games. Tonight, we are going to be discussing the second half of our Secrets of Strixhaven EDH set review. And tonight, we are going to be drinking something a little bit differently. Tonight, I am going to be drinking this cider from Avid Cider Company. It is their Rocket Pop hard cider, and you know Rocket Pops are like that red, white, blue America coloring, and each of them flavors is raspberry, cherry, and lime. So not necessarily the flavors that I would initially expect out of red, white, and blue. However, if I crack it open, take a sip, like that does taste like a rocket pop, like that super sugary sweet popsicle. Yeah, so it works. Like good on Avid Cider Company.
Interesting.
Yeah. How about you, Guy? What are you doing?
I'm drinking the same thing. I remember
Wait, the rocket pop?
last episode. What?
The Rocket Pop by Avid Cider Company?
No. Sorry. I'm drinking the same thing that I drank last episode because from the first episode where I was like, I should have gone out and gotten like a different shot for each of the schools, and then I could have done like something flavorful there, but I didn't, and I drank some wine, and then we've had a couple of days in between the first part and then this part. So I had every opportunity to go and do that again, but I didn't because I'm lazy. So I'm just finishing off the white bottle of wine I have.
That seems fair. It'll get us through the rest of the episode, so that's fine. So for those of you who are in part 1, we talked about the plane, the mechanics, the possible commanders you can play. And then we got into some of the like major cycles that are in like all the colors. And now we kind of were talking about the charms, and now we get to move on to like individual 99 cards. So we get to start talking about like all the white cards, blue, black, red, green, and colorless stuff. And then we get to talk about like our predictions on what we think is going to be the most popular cards from this set going forward. So that all being said, like let's just dive into it. We are now moving into white, and what better way to start off very strong with a brand new card. Guy, do you want to read it? I mean, you kind of in our play group play more mono white than I think anybody else. This might be relevant for you.
Oh yeah, this is a good one. It's a road, a single white mana, so have to exile, Swords to Plowshare, instant, destroy target creature or planeswalker, Its controller may search through the library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle. So very similar to Path, where it gets the opponent a basic land, but this destroys instead of exiles, but can also hit planeswalkers, which that's kind of a nice upgrade because it's just 1 mana. It's just super clean. Yeah, I feel like with some of the designs of planeswalkers more recently, having them having static abilities, this is just kind of a nice way to, take care of those, like, I guess I'm thinking like Narset, Part of Reveals, that's like a huge one, which stops you from drawing more cards. But yeah, I think this is super clean. I like this.
Yeah, this is pretty surprising that as you mentioned Path to Exile earlier, like this pretty much is Path to Exile. Now, it's destroying the creature instead of exiling it, which I know is kind of like the whole point of Path to Exile, is that like it's exiled, like there's pretty much no way you can get it back, even though there are like some niche ways, but I'm not going to get into that. But the creature's pretty much gone for good, and like destroying means like, oh, it could be reanimated, it could be like shuffled back in from the grave to the library, but like honestly, a single white mana instant having this effect and also having the upside of a planeswalker, like this is like, after you put in Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares, you're probably also putting in a road. Like if you want a third effect like it, you're probably playing this, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty high on my consideration list.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, yeah, if like you're a mono white deck or like a white X deck that has enough card draw, like maybe you don't mind the fact that you're just like playing Swords to Plowshares, then maybe you like want a really low curve, so you don't mind having like this 1 mana instant interaction. Like maybe like your mana curve's low enough, like this is good for your deck.
For sure.
I'm pretty excited about this. Do you also want to read this next card, guy? Because you're the one who added it to our list.
Yeah, this is probably the card I think I'm most excited about. It's kind of crazy, actually. Practiced Offense. It's 2 and a white sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls. Target creature gains your choice of Double Strike or Lifelink until end of turn. But wait, there's more. It has Flashback for 1 and a white. So essentially, for 5 mana, you can give your whole board +2/+2, make 1 creature either a Double Strike Lifelinker. I mean, white already has quite a bit of Double Strike and Lifelink, so maybe you give a creature that already has Lifelink Double Strike and another creature that already has Double Strike Lifelink. Really just like pump up your board. I think that this is really strong. I mean, we talked about mono white weenie type decks for a bit, and I think that this is just nice.
Yeah,
so good.
I do have to reread this card a number of times to try and like fully grasp it. So like you're putting the +1/+1 counters are going on every single creature that a certain player has. So like it pumps up the whole board, and then the other part of it is a single creature is getting Double Strike or Lifelink, and because it has Flashback, you could like put on you could have that single target of Double Strike and Lifelink be the same creature, or like spread out between 2 different creatures, like Lifelink and Lifelink, or Double Strike and Double Strike, or Double Strike and then yeah, this card is just very, very flexible, and yeah, like it's good in like go wide decks, and also if one of your creatures is particularly better than the other, just buff up that one. This like for a 3 mana sorcery, like this is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I think about it is like the whole team gets pumped up, but then you're electing one creature to kind of be like your team captain. That's the one that gets like the extra bonus. And then you know, you can do it pretty early, and you can also like do it pretty late. I mean, especially in like the late game, this is really good because yeah, just immediate 5 mana, big board.
All right, next up, we will move into blue. We've got a few like interesting blue cards here. We'll start off with Divergent Equation, which is XX blue, instant. That says return up to X target instance and or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand, then exile Divergent Equation. This is just kind of, in my mind, like a quintessential storm card where it does exile itself like after being cast, so like you can't like loop it over and over with other instants and sorceries. But even so, like I can totally see like someone paying a whole bunch of mana into the double X cost and getting a bunch of stuff back, and basically like storming off like the fact that it synergizes with instants and or sorceries, and it itself is an instant that is technically only a single mana value. Like I could just see myself losing to this card as part of a storm combo.
Yeah, I mean, we talked earlier, or we talked in the last episode about like Simone and her caring about like XX spells. I feel like that this is easily one. So easily one that could be included in that deck, because it essentially could just be blue, return all your instants and sorceries from your graveyard to your hand.
I don't know about you, but the more I play Commander, the more I find myself in situations where either someone has a really tight mana curve and like has a bunch of like low mana value stuff and is like getting the maximum value from like each little bit of mana pip. And then there's the type of Commander where I just make a fuck ton of mana, and like these X spells are great because they either allow you to like dump all of your mana into them or use as little as possible, like potentially early. So I don't know. The more I play Commander, the more I fan of flexible X spells. They're just good like at all points in the game, whether it's the beginning, middle, or the end.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That all being said, we have a very similar next blue card, which is Wisdom of Ages. It is 4 and blue, blue, blue. So it's 7 mana value sorcery that also exiles itself after being cast. And it says return all instants and sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. You have no maximum hand size the rest of the game. So again, it's sort of like a finisher of ending the game, like probably late game. You know, maybe you can get this out probably ahead of curve, or just even at the end of the game where you got a full ass graveyard of instants and sorceries. Again, just storm off and win. Go. You're probably gonna kill me with this.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those kind of decks where I think, or this is one of those kinds of cards where it's really strong in a particular type of deck. So, you know, instants and sorceries. The upside of having like the no maximum hand size for the rest of the game is also very nice. I think we've only seen that on like a handful of cards. Ancient Silver Dragon. Then there's that one blue.
Oh, you know what this reminds? You know what this
spell.
reminds me of? I had trouble remembering it until like literally just now, which is great. Praetor's Council, which is 5 and triple green sorcery. Return all cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile the card itself, and then you have no max hand size for the rest of the game. That's what this reminds me of. That's why it seems so familiar. And yeah, every once in a while I see that, and I will lose to a Praetor's Council.
Praetor's Council. Why can't I find that? Hold on.
It might.
Oh, I was spelling council wrong. That's my fault.
Okay, I was literally gonna say like you're probably spelling Praetor wrong, but no, it's you're.
I was thinking like council, like I like oh god, what I was just looking at the other type of council, like Council's Judgment or Karlov of the Ghost Council, like that kind of council. Yeah. No,
We
that's
can't spell.
pretty good. No, I just don't know what some words mean, Blake. That's different.
Yeah.
Well, can you do math? What a great segue into mathemagics. So, surprise, surprise, XX blue blue sorcery. Target player draws two to the power of X cards. So 2 to the power of 0 equals 1, 2 to the power of 1 equals 2, 2 to the power 2 squared equals 4, 2 cubed equals 8, 2 to the power of 4 equals 16, 2 to the power of 5 equals 32, and so on. So what a card for them to be like, yeah, we're gonna make them think.
This is
I just
wild.
think it's a fun card. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun card. I think that's really the main important thing about this. Like, I think if I remember right, some of the promotional material for the set said that Mathemagics was the idea for it was proposed like early on in the set, and it didn't really change much throughout the entire set. Like every once in a while, a card like that comes along, and I think Mathemagics is that card where they're like, all right, yeah, this works. And when this card was first spoiled to me, I was like, like it's double X, and then it's then it's like you read its card draw ability, and it's like, well, card draw is very pivotal to the game. How much are people actually going to do this? And then you watch like the Game Nights Commander gameplay video, and it's like not that hard to get a crap ton of mana. And then that video reminded me, like, yeah, like nowadays it's not really that difficult to get a crap ton of mana. This is totally gonna like draw you a bunch of cards or deck out your opponents or both. Maybe you play it and then like later on you use Wisdom of Ages, or you use Divergent Equation to get it back and like you use it to win the game. Like, this all makes sense. Yeah, I like it. It's a fun card.
I mean, the other, I think, important thing that you kind of reminded me here is it's target player. It's not just you. So yeah, if you do have enough mana, you can target an opponent to draw their whole deck if you have the mana. Yeah. So like 2 to the power of 6, that's 64. 2 to the power of 7 is 128.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be 7, 7, 14. So for 16 mana, you could easily make someone draw their whole deck.
Which isn't that ridiculous, right?
No, especially like in later games. And I mean, also, especially since this is like a Quandrix gear or a Quandrix type card, it is certainly skewed to wanting to play this in like, green-blue decks, where it is not that hard to get a ton of mana, draw into this, and then win the game. So yeah. No, I don't think that's that crazy.
Yeah, and as we've been talking, I've also thought about like the original like version of this, which is in my opinion like Stroke of Genius, where it's where it's X and then 2 generic and then a blue. And then it says target player draws X cards and it's an instant. So obviously it's different, but it's like, it serves the same function, right? Either you can make your opponents draw until you put a bunch of mana into it. You either force your opponents to like draw out and then lose on the spot, or you just use it as like a value draw spell. You can, like, the main difference is that Mathemagics is a sorcery, whereas Stroke of Genius is a instant. But regardless, I think this Mathemagics is arguably an even more fun and like it's a flex card. It's like, someone kills you with Mathemagics, how can you really be mad? That's a cool rad card, right? I think it's cooler than trying to do a Stroke of Genius, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, now we're moving on to black. So Blake, why don't you read this card?
All right, so We are in black, and now we're talking about, I believe, our first and only Planeswalker for this set. I think there's another Planeswalker that's in the set, but we're not going to read them because it's so, like, not relevant for, like, the Commander format. So, this is a Planeswalker, Ral Zarek, Guest Lecturer, for 1 and black, so 3 mana value with 3 loyalty. It has 4 loyalty abilities. Here we go. There's the +1 Surveil 2. -1. Any number of target players each discard a card. -2. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. -7. Flip 5 coins. Target opponent skips their next X turns, where X is the number of coins that came up heads. Now you may be thinking, Blake, you said Ral Zarek, which is a blue and red card, but you're reading Ral Zarek Guest Lecture as a mono black card? What's going on? Well, I don't know the lore to this set, but apparently Ral Zarek didn't get yeeted by a zombie and dead in War of the Spark, the one character to die in War of the Spark. Or did he? I don't really know the lore. It's a little bit confusing, but here he is, and he's honestly not the most powerful Planeswalker, but it's got 4 loyalty abilities, and like it's kind of cool to see a card skip opponents' turns. And there aren't very many. Like, I know there's the term vacation decks where like you skip all of your turns until like your opponent loses in some other way, but I don't think it'll see a whole bunch of play. It's mostly just like, hey, why is Ral Zarek back?
Yeah, I think maybe we'll do like a lore episode in between now and Reality Fractures, so we're just all on the same page. But the assumption is that with Jace breaking the I forget what it's called. It's wherever Nicol Bolas was held.
The
meditation realm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's now caused like a what if type scenario of characters in like an alternate universe to kind of come into our main Magic universe. So that's why we have this off-color Ral Zarek.
Is this a multiverse situation? Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah. That's the assumption. I mean, and this almost kind of confirms it. So, well, I guess we'll probably see more later, but it is, yeah, I thought, okay, we have to include it because not only is it just interesting for Ral to be a different color, that -7 is super interesting because it's like the complete opposite of almost what the original Ral's ability was. Like the first Ral Planeswalker was like flip 5 coins, take 5 turns if you win.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like that. But yeah, that could be pretty big. And yeah, 4 mana Planeswalkers. I think that's like the only other thing is like you don't see those too often. It's kind of nice to have that if they're not going to have like a static ability, because it just gives them more agency to do other things. None of these though are that crazy, and I mean I highly doubt you're ever gonna -7. So yeah.
I just sort of am like, oh, like lore wise, it's like, oh, here's like if someone actually does die, well, they're definitely not dead because we'll just bring them back from another multiverse. But I'm not going to get into that right now. I'll probably rant about that some other time. If you're good with it, I'll move on.
Ral didn't die. You're thinking of Dak Faden.
Oh my god, I'm so bad at Magic the Gathering. You're right. Why did I think Ral Zarek died?
Ral Zarek was an otter in Bloomburrow also.
Oh, right. Okay. Damn.
Yep.
I'm so bad at Magic the Gathering. It's fine.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, not knowing the lore makes you a significantly worse player.
Yes. Damn it.
Okay.
All right.
This next one is interesting. It is very black heavy.
I'm surprised they printed
Pox
this.
Plague. Yeah. Okay. Pox Plague. Black, 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 black. So 5 black pips. Sorcery. Each player loses half their life, then discards half the cards in their hand, then sacrifices half the permanents they control of their choice. Round down each time. So yeah, Pox was a card. I forget. I mean, Pox is a pretty old card. I think it's almost like
Yeah, I think it was
Pox
originally printed in Ice Age. Yeah, long ago.
Yes, where you lose a third of, life, third of their cards. There's also Small Pox, which was from Time Spiral, which was just each player loses 1 life, discards 1 card, sacrifices a creature, and sacrifices the land. Yeah. So, I mean, I think in like the right type of decks, like this is pretty good. Because you do get to choose, so like you keep your best stuff. I mean, your opponents get to keep your best stuff, but you're probably hoping for a bunch of dive triggers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just surprising that they printed this, given the fact that it's no secret that discard decks and especially Pox effects, especially in like decks like Turgid. Like, those are some of the saltiest, like, socially unliked mechanics in Commander. So I'm very surprised that they would print this card. Like, you can...
Though, you're only going to see this in, like, mono black decks. It's so... Like, that. I think that's kind of, like, the one thing about it. It's, like, no way are you splashing this in, like, any deck that's just not mono black. It requires 5 black pips,
Do you think so? Because we do have Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, which is, say you have like a Dimir deck, like you could easily play like an optimal Dimir Bana base and just have Urborg in it, and expecting this to be like a late game finisher. No.
Okay. I mean, in that scenario, yeah.
It is each player, so in theory it's symmetrical, but you're definitely building your deck to where it's not going to be symmetrical, like Turgid. I don't know. I'm just surprised that they printed this card. I don't think it'll see a bunch of play besides in Turgid decks. Maybe Tiny Bones.
It's my number 1 card that I'm predicting that is going to make it into a bunch of decks.
I don't believe you. All right, next up, we have much more tame card. This is Scheming Silver Tongue. It is a Vampire Warlock, 1 and a black for a 1/3 that has flying and lifelink. Makes sense. It's a Vampire Warlock. And it's one of those prepared cards. So at the beginning of your second main phase, if you gain 2 or more life this turn, this creature becomes prepared. And the prepared spell is Sign in Blood. Black, sorcery, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. So this creature is saying, all right, gain some life, and then we'll immediately like spend it and get you to lose that life in order to get some card draw. Very mono black. And it feels very flavorful. It feels interesting. Sign in Blood is kind of, how would I say this? Sign in Blood is kind of just like a mono black staple, and so this probably won't see play as much as the original Sign in Blood, because this vampire is asking you to also go through an additional hurdle, that being gaining life in order to become prepared, in order to cast a Sign in Blood. So maybe in a white black deck or white black X deck, I mean, there are other ways to gain life outside of white, but I think this will see less play, but I'm pretty excited to see Signing Blood as a small option.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty cute. I like there. I mean, this is kind of the thing with like all these prepared creatures is just being able to kind of run secondary or I guess run multiple copies of a card in a way. So it kind of just creates some redundancy for your decks, which, I mean, depending if you want that kind of thing or if you don't want that kind of thing, but yeah, I think it's cute.
On that note,
Okay.
this next one I think is going to be a much more played and much more popular prepared creature.
Oh yeah, so this is Grave Researcher, 2 and a black. Creature, Troll, Warlock. At the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1. Then, if there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard, this creature becomes prepared. Whatever could a black card that cares about the graveyard, what I don't know, instant or sorcery could possibly it prepare? Oh, I don't know. Why not Reanimate? So Reanimate is a black mana sorcery. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to that card's mana value. So I think I think this one is actually more likely to be played in a lot more decks than Scheming Silvertongue.
I totally agree. Why do you say that though?
Reanimate, I think, is just a more powerful card than Sign in Blood. The fact that this also just does something passively, like Surveil, whereas the other one was, oh, you have to gain life by a certain time. And yeah, so this allows you to fill up your graveyard. It's not even like the Scheming Silvertongue had 2 power to gain you the 2 life that you needed. If that was the case, I'd be like, okay, that's better. But yeah, so Grave Researcher, much better card.
Yeah, just the fact that it prepares itself just so much easier. Like, yeah, it's a 3-mana creature, and like you got to fill up your graveyard, but it's so easy when you're surveilling 1, and then you get like 3 more creatures. Like especially if you're in a deck that can fill up your graveyard. Like this is going to see a lot of play. This is definitely going to see a bunch of play, and it's also just the fact that like this is great for Reanimator strategy because like this is a reanimation effect on a creature. So like you reanimate this, and then it can reanimate something else, and so that's the kind of effect and chain and bullshit you want in a reanimate deck. So I expect to see this in a lot of reanimate decks. I expect to see that a lot.
Yeah.
Next up, our last black card is Withering Curse. 1 and black for a sorcery that says all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. Not that interesting. However, the main line of text is that infusion ability, which we talked about in part 1, which says if you gained life this turn, destroy all creatures instead. So, what this really means is for 3 mana, if you gained life this turn in any way, you get to Wrath of God, you get to destroy all creatures, you get like, as long as you're like in a deck that can gain life in some way and like it also has black, like you're probably playing this as one of the board wipes, no?
Yeah, and I mean, -2/-2 is also nothing to sneeze at either, because that's just going to kill tokens and just small creatures
And
to
mana
begin with.
cards.
So yeah, like just the fact that like it's a pretty good board wipe even for 3 mana without having gained life. I think that this is certainly more viable than something like, I don't know, Damnation.
Yeah, and I think So on that note, like Damnation and Wrath of God are kind of like the quintessential, like 4 mana value, destroy all creatures. It's kind of the benchmark, right? So like if you're gonna make a board wipe that costs 3 mana, it has to like have a worse effect, which is like basically the first line of text. But then if you, I'm a fan of this design where like, all right, but in a niche archetype, like we can make it better. We can make it like basically as good as Wrath of God or Damnation, but only if it meets this certain criteria and this certain niche strategy. And then it'll encourages players to not necessarily play those quote unquote staples, not to play the Wrath of God, to play the Damnation, which I am in favor of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty good.
Moving into the most exciting color for Guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't think anything from this set red-wise was that crazy. But alright, we'll start with this first one. It's cute. It's Blazing Fire Singer, 2 and a red, creature, dwarf, bard. This creature enters prepared. Okay, cool. And then it has Seething Song, which 2 and a red, instant, add red, 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 red. Okay, wait, hold on. Red, 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 red. Yeah, 5 red mana. So, for 6 mana, you can essentially get 5 mana back, so it's a cute little ritual. I think, you know, there are some loops that people have talked about with, like, this and, like, Displacer Kitten, being able to, like, generate infinite mana once it's on the field, and if you're able to get Blazing or Seething Song to go off, because you cast Seething Song for 5 and get 5 mana, Displacer Kitten will, like, make this bounce. You just will create infinite red mana that way. So yeah. Displacer Kitten, good card.
That makes sense. Like flicker effects where like you're abusing that ETB and like you're continuously getting the mana. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I guess it's yeah, I guess it's not that abusable in like mono red, but in
other color combos.
Yeah, because it could be pretty easy to at least get like mono red. Like I was kind of like, Dockside is like that, but this requires a little more hoops to jump through.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think they'll ever make another Dockside quite like Dockside Extortionist, which is probably for the best.
You shut your mouth.
All right, yeah, I was also thinking about like Magda Brazen Outlaw, the original Magda, where this is a dwarf and it does make you red mana, and that's a very strange and interesting deck, and maybe it wants that. But that's really, yeah, the flicker effects in Magda are all I really got for this card. Next up, we have Choreographed Sparks. Red and red, so 2 mana value, instant that says, this spell can't be copied. And it says, choose one or both. There's 2 modes. So the first mode says, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. And it says, copy target creature spell you control. The copy gains haste, and at the beginning of the next end step, sacrifice this token. So you can kind of see why this card says like it can't be copied. That way it can't copy itself and just get stuck in an infinite loop. So that's what's going on there. This is basically making a copy of an instant or a sorcery or a creature, really. And yeah, for 2 red pips and an instant, this is just very efficient. This is very clean, and I totally expect to see it in like certain like token creature copies decks possibly, or particularly in Fork Storm style decks.
Yeah, I think it reminds me a little bit of Molten Duplication, which came out, I think, in like Outlaws of Thunder Junction, which was allowing you to create a token copy of a creature you control for 2 mana. So it was a pretty good rate. And this is an instant allowing you to like copy the spell on the stack,
Yeah.
or casting like an choosing a instant or sorcery. So, that dual usage is pretty good.
Yeah, and I remember Molten Duplication, where everyone's like, "Oh, it combos with Kiki Jiki," and the running joke is like, "Well, everything, like a ham sandwich will combo with Kiki Jiki. That's not that big of a threshold to get." And then, like you said, Molten Duplication is a sorcery. This is an instant, and it does a creature and an instant and a sorcery. I just think Choreograph Sparks is probably, way better.
Yeah, I guess the only thing is like the timing has to be more specific if you're going to copy a creature, because it's like the creature spell has to be on the stack.
Yes. True.
But yeah, it's cute and interesting. Okay, this next one actually, these next two actually I think are probably the best red cards. So this first one is Flashback. Gee, I wonder what it does. Red mana, instant, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. So I think the main comparison people have been making with this is Snapcaster Mage, which is a pretty notable blue creature that when it enters, it can give a instant or sorcery spell in your graveyard flashback. This is not a creature. It is one less mana, but yeah, I think it's pretty strong.
Yeah, I kept overlooking this card. I think it wasn't until like I looked at this set like 4 times that I'm like, wait a second, what's this? What's the small little thing? Flashback, single red mana. I could probably just do it. It's probably just like draft shot. And then I'm like, wait, it's an instant. Wait, it also gives flashback? Oh, that's why it's called flashback. Oh, that's just good and efficient. Oh, this is a good card. Whoops. I overlooked this.
Yeah.
It's again, I'm gonna say this for the millionth time. Good in instant sorcery storm decks. Probably gonna lose to it.
Yeah. Instant or search card in your graveyard. Okay, yeah, so okay, yeah. I mean, I think the same thing though, that people just need to make sure that they don't play it incorrectly, but this doesn't mean that you can cast like Cyclonic Rift from your graveyard for its overload cost. So, or any kind of like alternate cost. Just have to be mindful of that.
Yeah, that is a great point to bring up because that's always like one of the major mistakes when playing flashback. What do you think about this next one?
Yeah, this one is also pretty interesting to me. This is Rubble Rouser, 2 and a red, creature, dwarf sorcerer, and notably it's a common. When this creature enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card, and then tap, exile a card from your graveyard. That's part of the cost. Add red mana. When you do, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent, and it's a 1/4. So, red mana dorks. We've seen a couple of these more recently. I think Sunset Strike Master we got last year, which was from Tarkir Dragonstorm.
I think that's when it started, yeah.
Yeah, they said that this would be like an ability we see from time to time in red moving forward, because red can get like small amounts of mana like this, or it comes in like ritual type effects. I think that this, though, dealing a damage to each opponent is quite good. I think O'Hare Ashnal type decks would really want something like this, where this is a red source, tapping for mana, deal 4 damage to each of your opponents. That seems pretty good. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah. I'm glad to see that the mana production, at least in a temporary sense, is being shifted a little bit into red in interesting ways, and so I am very much also a fan of this card. I like it. Yeah.
And also, I mean, at the worst, it's you discard a card, draw a card. Like, I like that it can rebate itself, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
To green. I think we only have one green card, surprisingly. That neither of us really wanted to talk about. Green did not like slam dunk much this set. I think like blue and red and some black cards were like really the slam dunk. Go figure, because it's an instant and sorcery centered set, and so go figure that instants and sorceries, especially which are known for blue, red color, doing way better. So makes sense that there's only really like one. Yeah. So
I mean, this one is no joke, though.
Yeah. I'm glad you added it. It's worth talking about. It is Planar Engineering. 3 and a green, so 4 mana value sorcery. That says sacrifice 2 lands. Search your library for 4 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So, a lot of people initially are comparing it to Harrow, which is like a little bit less mana, and you're sacrificing 1 land and getting like, I think it's 2. So, but this one is basically doubled, where you're sacking 2 and getting 4. So, I think it's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, mono green landfall type decks, this is kind of a no-brainer, because you have your landfall trigger for the turn. If you have like a fetch land, go fetch a forest. So 2 landfall triggers right there. Play Planar Engineering. 3, 4, 5, 6 triggers. Yeah, I feel like you can definitely like spiral out pretty quickly in the right type of decks, and yeah, this just is not that hard to break.
I think this, landfall is a really well supported strategy in the Commander format, but I think this really shines in decks like your Titania deck, possibly, where you want lands being sacrificed. You want them to go to your grave so that it hits certain triggers.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And like we were talking right before recording, like this could just be good where you just straight up want like 4 landfall triggers all in one turn, like on one spell.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You're now in multicolor cards.
Yeah. And like Blake said last episode, this is where it really gets good. After you've been listening for about 50 minutes, this is really where the meat and potatoes of the episode really is.
Yeah.
Sorry you had to listen to all that boring shit we talked about earlier, but here we go. Resonating Loot. So this is 2 blue-red artifact. Lands you control have tap, add 2 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast instant and sorcery spells. Okay. Tap. Or it has tap, draw a card. Activate only if you have 7 or more cards in your hand. Okay. So, double mana production for instant and sorceries. Like, go to your turn 5. You explode into 10 mana. Like, I think this is where like the Mathemagic type cards really start to shine, because turn 5, if you played this turn 4, okay, you have 10 mana, that means X would equal to 4, and if you had X equals to 4, you could draw 16 cards. Yeah, that seems really strong.
Yeah. When I saw this card, I'm like, wow, this is very interesting to me on a number of axes, because Well, just at face value, you're right, where it's doubling your mana production, and then, oh no, it's only for your instants and sorceries. Oh, dang. I've never known a blue and red deck in Commander that's mostly just instant sorceries. Whatever will they do? Oh no. And then, oh, it draws you a card, but only if you have 7 or more cards in hand. Oh no, I've never met an Isaac deck that doesn't have a full grip all the time. Oh no, this is such a bad card. No, that's always going to be live. So this is a really powerful card, especially for like Izzet Storm decks. And it's also interesting to me where, I've thought about, like, you hear the phrase like 5 mana do nothings, where like you just play the 5 mana thing and it sits there, and if it's removed, you've just wasted your turn 5. And so I think about 5 mana doublers, such as like Mirari's Wake, and then like 6 mana doublers. And like this is basically the inevitable march of time, where this is basically a 4 mana doubler. So I think maybe that's kind of now the phase of power creep that we're just kind of in now. And I'm okay with that, especially because it's got all these restrictions. If it's going to be restricted to instants and sorceries, like, okay, well, at least it's restricted to this specific archetype, where this can't go in every blue and red deck, but it's going to go in a lot of them. It's going to see like a good amount of play, but it's like not like super broken. Also, it reminds me of Bootlegger Stash, and I just laugh about how everybody talks about Bootlegger Stash needing to be banned, but nobody's like up in arms about resonating loot needing to be banned. So I'm just gonna throw that.
Yeah.
You want to read the next card?
I just read that card.
Cauldron of Essence?
No, Resonating Loot.
Okay, well.
So you read Cauldron of Essence.
Okay, joke's on you, because I wanted to talk about this card too. This is Cauldron of Essence. It's 1 and black and green, so it's a Golgari card. 3 mana value. Artifact. It says, whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Alright, that's pretty good. And then it also has an activated ability of 1 and black and green, just like its casting cost. You sacrifice a creature. Tap also. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. So, super easy to cast. Just 3 mana value. It's an artifact, so it's just gonna stay there. It has a passive where you're just gonna continuously have your creatures die, which is probably what's gonna happen in Golgari, and you're gaining life all while your opponents are losing life. And it's sort of like Sarah, no, Viscera Seer. That's the one. And then it's also just like, oh, if I really need to, I'll like sack this for a reasonable amount and trade creatures. Like, oh no, the downside is that it's only at sorcery speed. Like that's fine. Like, this is pretty good. Mostly, I think you're gonna be using it for that Viscera Seer-esque effect, where you're just kind of constantly like pinging people down, all while you're pinging up. Expect to be whittled down quite a lot by this cauldron.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, get back any creature from your graveyard for 3 mana, and it has the passive ability of banking on creatures dying in a Golgari deck. Like, gee, we talk about like instants and sorcery, or sorry, red and blue decks are casting a bunch of instants and sorceries. Like, oh, what else is new? It's like, oh yeah, what else is new? Creatures dying in green and black. Like, cool. Yeah, I mean it's strong. Yeah, good card. Second Cauldron, because second strong Cauldron card we've seen in a while, because there was Agatha's Soul Cauldron from a while ago.
Yeah.
But like, these are completely different. But like, there's a Cauldron. Might need to give it a closer look. Okay. Second to last card. This is another Witherbloom card. Blake.
I'm still gonna go with the
Dina's
Ravnica.
Guidance. Dina's Guidance, 1 black green, instant, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand or graveyard, then shuffle. So it's like a Eldamri's Call, Entomb, stapled onto 1 card for 3 mana. But the fact that it's an instant is pretty good. And yeah, just having the flexibility of, oh, do I want this in my graveyard or do I want this in my hand to cast? Like, yeah, I can see this easily being like a combo piece or go find your combo piece type thing. So yeah, put your best creature in the graveyard and then reanimate it with Cauldron of Essence. Boom. We did it. We broke it.
Yep. I think that this is just a very strong card. Not every deck's gonna want it, but it's just so damn efficient. It's only 3 mana. It's an instant, and it does like nothing but upside. And it's like basically 2 super strong staples of the format stapled into 1. Like, I think I'll see this being played as just one of its very efficient tutors, and I'm fine with that. Yeah, if you're gonna play tutors, play tutors. Have fun. That's that. We'll move now into colorless, and there's nothing super exciting about the colorless cards, but there's still 2 notable ones that I felt were worth mentioning, at least really quickly. There's Petrified Hamlet, which is a land that enters, and you choose a land card name. Now, the activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Lands with the chosen name have tap, add a diamond mana, and then it says tap, add a diamond mana. So it's basically kind of like Pithing Needle is the closest thing I can kind of think about. You're kind of like freezing up their land and like all while having your land. I don't think it's a big game changer like Pithing Needle has been with like other formats in Magic the Gathering, but I thought it was kind of interesting, and if you're playing a colorless deck, perhaps you want to play this in your mana base, just as sort of a fun little tool.
Yeah. I'm doing a quick EDH rec. Oh, no duh. Sorry, I looked up like EDH rec. What are the top lands? And it's like forest, mountain, plains. It's like, oh my god, like no shit.
My reality
but yeah,
has
I was like
changed.
looking for like what is like the like I mean any type of like Evolving Wilds, Terraforming Expanse, Fable Passage, like, you know, this comes in and turns those into non fetch land type things. They can be sacrificed, so they could only be tapped for like colorless mana. Stops like Wasteland or Strip Mines from getting you the ability to like destroy lands. And it also stops what was it? Shoot. I mean, Maze of Ith, that's another one. Like, I could probably name, like, don't ask me to, but I could probably name some more lands that, you know, this could stop, or this stops. Oh my god, I did have one more notable one. And, High Market, that's a pretty important one.
Oh, yeah, I see that every once in a
creature
while. Yeah.
gains some life. Yeah, so like, you know, I think what's also nice is like this could stop like a land that's on the field. It could stop a land that you know that multiple opponents are playing, because it doesn't matter if like the land is on the field or not. You don't have to like, you know, see like, oh, what do people have? It's like, you know, preemptively, I'm going to make sure that nobody can play like Strip Mine, or nobody can use Strip Mine's ability. So I will preemptively tap that. say that ahead of time.
Yeah. Super quick aside. As I've been playing more and more over the years, I need players to clearly communicate and articulate, like when they play a land, like say the name of the land. Because if you just play it down and then like activate it later when like doing something, I'm like, dude, I didn't even know you had that. Like you're way across the table. Like unless like I got up in your face, there's no way I would have known this land was there. So I am now starting to be like, what's that land you played? And it's like, I need you to tell me, because lands are just so powerful and hard to interact with an average power level.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, do you want to read this next one? This last card we got?
Bazaar of Baghdad. That was another one that I could stop. You know, a very common card that you're going to see.
I see you paid what, $2,000 for that land? I paid 5 cents for this.
Yeah. But okay, I'll read this last card. This is Diary of Dreams. 2 mana. Artifact. Book. That's right. Book is now a subtype of artifacts. So whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a page counter on this artifact. 5 mana tap, draw a card. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each page counter on this artifact. I mean, is that the main reason why we're like calling this out? Is because it's the first book, though I think they've also retroactively gone back and added book to different artifacts that should be.
I just looked it up. Yeah, it's kind of exactly what you would expect. Every single Magic card that basically has a book in the art, it's now basically a book. Like it has the book subtype. So for example, what's an example that people would know? So like Geth's Grimoire, the one that's like 4 mana artifact. Whenever an opponent discards a card from their hand, you draw a card. That's a book. Cody Voracious Codex.
Cody's a book. Yeah.
Yep. What else is there? It's a book that people might know.
Heirloom Epic. That's a book. That one I feel like is pretty new and people would probably know. That was like from Blueburrow.
Oh, Spellbook.
Where it's like
0 mana artifact, you have no maximum hand size. That one sees a bunch of play. Yeah, it's got a book in the art. There's a good chance that it's now a book.
Tamiya's Journal.
Yeah.
Underworld Cookbook. Yeah, we could name a lot of books.
But we're not
or read a lot of books. But yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if like this does anything for the future. You know? Like
it's gotta be. Like similar to like how Wizards of the Coast like created the Phyrexian like subtype just in preparation for what's it called?
Phyrexia will be one.
Yeah.
March of the Machines.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. There's got to be like more like books coming in the future for future sets if they're bothering to make it some subtype.
Ooh, they're gonna make a Page Master Universes Beyond set. That's what they're doing. Oh no, wait, that's the joke. It's the Magic Treehouse. They're gonna make a Magic Treehouse Universes Beyond. That's what I keep saying.
All right, let's move on to like pretty much the last part of the episode. So, as you all listeners know, every main Magic set, Guy and I have started to do this for the year of 2026, where we are trying to predict the top 3 commanders and the top 399 cards that come out from each of these sets. So, we, at the end of the year, are going to look at EDHREC.com as the metric of determining what the most popular cards have been from various sets. But for now, like, we are actively trying to avoid looking at EDHREC and seeing what is the most popular stuff. So, Guy and I have written down our predictions already. It's not going to be fun to talk about. I think.
Yeah, so, okay, first for the commanders, in order of who I think will be, most likely to be in the top 5, to, still within top 5, but feel less confident. So I have Witherbloom, the Balancer, who is the, face of the Witherbloom College. Then we have Berta, who is that frog druid from Quandrix.
Oh, the blue-green
who
one?
gets like +1. Yeah, who gets +1/+1 counters and adds mana. And then the final one that I am putting my money on is Lorehold the Historian, who is the Lorehold dragon who gives all your instants and sorceries Miracle 2.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to briefly talk about like why you chose each of those?
Yeah, so I mean the dragons I think are kind of almost like one of the dragons has to make it. Like they're kind of the big splashy mythic cards of the set. They're just popular. These dragons especially I think are just much stronger than their first iterations. They care a lot more about instants and sorceries. So flavorfully they're pretty cool. I think we saw at least 2. Did we see 2 or only 1 played on game nights? Because I always feel like that's a good indication too. But yeah, at least Witherbloom was played on there. So that's kind of why I was like, okay, Witherbloom's here. And yeah, pretty good. So those were like my top 3 commanders.
That makes sense. Yeah. I pretty much had the exact same line of thinking where I looked at the set and the possible commanders, and I know how popular dragons are, and I'm like, there's no way that a lot of these dragons aren't going to be the most popular commanders from this set. So I just went all in on that idea, and I just said Witherbloom the Balancer as the most popular, which is like the black-green one, and then there's the Prismari, the Inspiration, which is the red-blue one, and then I went with Lorehold, like you did as well, the white-red one. I chose those 3 because I'm like, well, I think those 3 are going to be more popular and have more legs to stand on as like super interesting build around commanders, more so than the Silver Quill one or the other one, which is escaping my mind, the Quandrix one.
Quandrix.
Yeah, those 2 I'm like, okay, they're more interesting than like the original Strixhaven set, but I think I'm probably going to be wrong, but I still think that the other 3 are going to be a little bit more popular, and that's what it shows.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Silver Quill, I would have been like the most shocked, I guess, like if that makes top 5, because it's like instants and sorceries have casualty. What the hell's casualty?
Yeah, you have to read the
I know what casualty is, but it's like, yeah, that one.
It's less memorable than Cascade or Storm or Affinity
or Miracle. So everything else. Yeah.
We'll see.
I guess I don't know what I would replace it with. Had to think about that, but I don't care. Okay. So then top 3 99 cards. Number 3, or sorry, the number 1 99 card. So the one I'm putting more money on is Erode. Second, I'm doing Prismari Charm. And then Emeritus of Truce.
Okay. So you went with like 2 white cards and then Prismari Charm?
Yes. And I feel like that was probably actually not the smartest thing to do, but I am sticking with it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, like, because, like, yeah.
Erode I feel pretty confident on, like, it's a 1 mana white removal. That, like, Swords to Plowshare is, like, top 3 cards played.
Yeah, in hindsight, I'm like, I think Guy was right. I think maybe I should have chosen that too. Yeah, I think he's onto something.
Though something could also be said, like with there already being two really good 1-mana white removal spells, it's like, would you really run a third? So,
I think some decks
you
do.
know, yeah, I mean, mono white decks probably would. So, like me.
Mm-hmm. And Emeritus of Truth is like that lion with a bunch of like swords around it, right? And it's basically also the same, like kind of the same effect.
Yeah, I mean, it has Swords to Plowshare
Yeah.
stapled onto it, and that's like, also one of the most popular cards played. So,
And what had you choose
seems
Prismari Charm versus any of the other charms?
I mean, the charms are that's one of those things where I'm like, a charm has to make it onto here. Like, kind of like, we were saying, like the dragons. Like, no way does a dragon not make it. Prismari Charm, red, blue already being like the colors that care about instants and sorceries the most. So I feel like even if you're not necessarily building around Strixhaven flavor, this is probably gonna make it. It's also an uncommon, so probably won't be worth as much in terms of like monetary value. So it might be easier to get a hold of. Yeah, I mean, I think this happened when we were doing Edges of Eternity, and I was like, my 99 cards, I feel like I did not do well on. I feel like here I feel good on the road. I feel like it will at least make the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
But these other two, I'm like, kind of sweating a little.
Yeah. Well, before I talk about my top choices, I feel like this was a really difficult set for me to try and guess the most popular 99, just because there were just so many cards that fit this perfect balance between not being boring and uninteresting, but also not being like years ago when it's not like a Modern Horizons set where it's like, oh, here's these literal like a dozen format redefining staples that are kind of completely changed formats. It's nice in the middle zone where there's like lots of interesting cards for niche certain archetypes, I'll say. And so it's like, wow, a lot of these archetypes like want a lot of these cards. Like, oh, this is actually going to be hard for me to try and figure out what's going to be the most popular. It's got a pretty balanced scale. So I didn't really know. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if I get all of these wrong, just because there's so many good ones. So I just went with Grave Researcher, that black creature that reads. I went with Resonating Loot, that red and blue artifact that doubles your sorceries, that thing. And also went with Cauldron of Essence, that black and green artifact card that is basically Viscera Seer. Something in a pinch. I had a hard time with this. I don't know. I think there's just so many great cards in this set, and it was hard for me to make a choice.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're onto something with like Resonating Loot for kind of the same reason why I chose like Prismari Charm. Just because like that's such a good card for instants and sorcery decks without it having to be Prismari flavor.
Yeah.
So I think that one I feel like that's probably a good pick. Same with like Cauldron of Essence. I think those are both pretty safe picks.
Yeah, it's one thing I've noticed is like trying to do these like top 3 popularity things, like the 99 cards. It's tough choosing a 2 or more colored thing because it inherently is restricted because of color identity, and like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Like technically, it's like going to be less. I really think you probably are right with a road. I think because it's a mono-colored spell, it has more potential decks to be in. So I don't know. We'll find out at the end of the year. We'll tally it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking back on it now, I probably would have put in flashback as maybe
Yeah, that I thought about that
my
too. Yep, I think that's probably there's just so many storm decks. I think you're right. Yeah.
yeah. I would have at least I don't know if I would have put that as my like number one, but it maybe it would have replaced the Emeritus because you also have to think like value of the card, and like certain cards being like at higher rarities, it might be worth more. Those are the chase cards. So like Emeritus of Truth being like a mythic, like, ooh, I don't know. So we'll see.
Yep.
Yeah. The viewers will also just have to fucking wait and see what we thought of for our Lorwyn cards, Um because we'll still tally those.
Yeah.
We did pick.
I've still avoided looking at Lorwyn. I don't know. I'm trying to make this an interesting like end of year little experiment.
Oh yeah, I mean I've almost completely forgotten like what I picked from that set. And actually, I mean we only have one more set to kind of bank on at the moment. Um so me not feeling good about this one, or at least not the 99 cards, like only got one more chance to maybe pull through, and I only lost by a point last year, so
Yeah.
gonna Ooh, it will be tough.
It will be tough. That all being said, thank you all listeners for listening to us ramble for a bunch of cards. And we appreciate you. We are the Wizard Staff Podcast. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. Make sure to leave a like and review. It really does help us out. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky at WizardStaff101. You can send us an email at thewizardstaff101@gmail.com if you want to bitch and complain about how stupid we are. Thank you again so much for listening, and we hope you have a great night. Peace out.
Peace.